determining whether that election will live up to the expectations as set out in the Constitution. And we say that the election is too big a project that cannot belong to the Electoral Commission alone. It's a national project that involves all stakeholders. And I think if the Commission moves steadily, and all parties, nobody wants to twist IBC in one way or another so that they are not able to conduct an election. And we've said that we have been able to canvass all issues we had, and it's now for IBC to set itself down and prepare for an election that is consistent with the Constitution. 3, Rachel is similarly saying the same thing. I'm saying that, yes, you have a complementary mechanism. We are not challenging that complementary mechanism. We are actually making that complementary mechanism better so that it's clearly defined. If technology fails, how do we move to the complementary system? What are the protocols? What are the stages? So that there is no controversy. We don't want agents fighting in a polling station that technology has failed, we need to move to a complementary system.
If you agree to it, what is the bone of contention? Is it how it operates?
It's not how it operates. It is that the regulations do not state. You have the law providing for a complementary system, but you need to have a clear procedure of how you are going to move to a complementary system in case technology fails. And that is the only thing we want clarified, so that we don't have people fighting in polling stations. This one says technology has failed. This one says, no, we must have technology functioning. Those are the things that we want courts to provide clarity on. So the suit before the High Court that is coming up for judgment tomorrow is not challenging a complementary system. It is only seeking an interpretation and clarity of how this complementary system functions. And lastly, it is not true to assert that any of our members participated in a conversation on legislation of this complementary system. While Jubilee members were in Parliament passing this complementary system by force, all our MPs, and I was in court that day with all our MPs, they marched from Parliament to the High Court because we were challenging that process. None of our members participated in that process. It's good to be honest to that extent.
And to be clear, Rachel?
Yeah. I will not argue because the Hansard will prove me. If he goes to the Hansard, he will see the members who participated. But if that is the case, since we are the law-making organ as the National Assembly and the Senate, if they agree on the complementary system and what is missing are the regulations or the how that will go there, why haven't we recalled them in Parliament? Because you know we are MPs until August. This is what the new Constitution said. To be able to continue legislating for this country without leaving a gap. That used to happen before. So I am saying if we're in agreement and the problem is the process, that is not the work of the court. That is the work of the National Assembly and the Senate. And it's as clear as night and day. So I wish that that is the process they had said. They would have said, recall Parliament and let us get the regulations of how we will transit from the BBR to the complementary system. If that is the case, that's where we should have gone, not to court.
What do you view as the way forward, Rachel?
Well, I'm thinking the court cases will end, isn't it? Even if they will end a day before elections, we are ready.
The election still goes on.
Yes, because we have seen that we are also going to spend a lot of time, you know, playing this game. Our supporters feel the same way we do. That these court cases are to delay elections. You can't change them from that.
Jubilee has been accused of being in cahoots with the IEBC and coming out sometimes to over-defend, as it were, the IEBC.
Yeah, but just let me ask you. Please go back to history. Who said the previous IEBC must go? Who then brought us together? Churches came on board, foreign diplomats, blah, 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 came on board.
But is it
and we agreed to the process of writing the new law up to elections. The first thing we had to do was to bring in a new commission. That was a risk that we took because a new commission must go through some stages for them to be ready for elections. You cannot bring Chibukati today and tomorrow you expect him to perform like the other commissioners were performing. So that process, even for IBC to be ready, has taken time. Now, already, again, they don't want this IEBC. They don't trust it.
But is it the job of Jubilee to defend IEBC? Can't IEBC come out and defend themselves? After all, they are an independent commission. They are supposed to be independent.
Have we had any lawyer for IEBC? We haven't.
No, but you do agree with me, politically speaking, perception is reality to the electorate. And the minute Jubilee is seen and perceived to be in cahoots with the IEBC, it creates doubt within the electorate.
Let me ask you a question. if we want elections, and if we think that the process towards election should be smooth, and if we want to be ready politically to go to elections, we want IBC to be ready. So for us, it's not that we are supporting IBC because they are on our side. No, we are supporting IBC to be given the mandate because they are an independent body to prepare us for elections. There is no way we will not be saying, allow IBC to do its work. That's what we are saying. We are repeating again, NASA, allow IBC to do its work.
All right, Emmanuel, let me come to you. And do you think the courts are being misused? Is there an abuse of the court system to the advantage of whoever it is?
I think specifically to this issue of ballot paper, I don't think so. You know, I think there's a tendency here to simply use the Constitution and the rule of law when it works for you. And if it doesn't work, it is okay. Like, this is a crisis which was created by these two guys. And they're talking about it right now from the beginning of it. IBC was caught in the middle of it. It's not IBC who did anything wrong to procure these guys. What was wrong is the perception out there or thinking that the president, a presidential candidate, a sitting president met up with this guy. That is wrong even in the eyes of the Kenyan people. So I think right now there is more problems around these conversations here, which I think the Kenyan people need to know. That simply these two leaders cannot solve the Kenyan problems. These two leaders are the same people who were there in 07, 08, and they've never learned a lesson.
What solutions is Third Way Alliance bringing on board? Because it's one thing to criticize those who've been there, but what solutions are you bringing on board?
Before we enjoined that case, we had some very, very specific recommendations to IBC, all of them written. The most prominent one was very, very simple. Your mandate is for a fair and credible election. You are answerable to the Kenyan people. Please focus on that. And right now, the Kenyan people, as it is based on history, they perceive this to be a tainted process. Pull out the presidential ballot, have it printed and have it printed in the open, bring in even the United Nations to only supervise the printing process so that the Kenyan people get to believe it. It can be done. We are printing money in this country which have more security features than a simple ballot paper which need to be printed. So we said that what that will do, it will save us money first of all. The Kenyan people will simply agree with that. You bring in all agents and let it be a fair process. But these two, I think what it is here is there's a lot of mistrust. We've had stories of simply elections being stolen. We've had all kinds of, we've had violence, so out of it I think there's a lot of mistrust and everyone wants to control the ballot printing process. And in effect, they are going in to put pressure on IBC.
But isn't the fact that we've had previous violence in this country and mistrust the more reason why the threshold for accountability should be so high to a point where IEBC is in no doubt whatsoever that they can deliver credible elections?
Thank you. But when you talk about accountability, you are asking NASA and Jubilee to have accountability in this country. You know?
Is that not possible?
Well, the first accountability is this. A debate is accountability to the Kenyan people, where you don't talk to the Kenyan people, you engage the Kenyan people and you ask questions in a structured way, where as a sitting president you defend your record, as a leader of the opposition you defend their record. They did not attend. There was only one person there. You know, so this has never happened in the world. You know, a whole world-class debate platform which has been prepared by you guys, the media people. There is a problem. They did not want to be accountable because these are the questions which they would be asking to the Kenyan people. Now, as we are discussing here, if you look at it, it's simply focused about Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila, The Kenyan people are not in that picture. And they're suffering in this with a lot of anxieties of whether someone in Mombasa has to go back home in Kisumu. I myself am in this election, but my wife is asking me, you know, should we go back to Kilifi? Do you think we should?
Okay, and whereas you accuse NASA and Jubilee for not appearing for the debate, why you there for the debate? It was for running mates. Why you as Third Way Alliance running mates?
Thank you very much. One,
were you there for the debate?
I was there for the debate, and we were there. But we didn't
see you.
I was seen a bit there, but I was there. And there's a good reason for that. It's because the camera simply zoomed for me in a bit. We went in
Are you
there.
accusing then the media of
let me tell you the issue. The same issue IBC has right now, where they have been pressured by these two groups, is the same thing that these honorable men in the media who put up this very good show put the pressure. Leave alone me not attending. I think.
So you are not in attendance?
I attended. We had agreed that we would participate in a one-tier debate where all 8 candidates come in and the Kenyan people.
And that may be the very reason why they did not appear. But I want us to move on because we don't have time.
But why? But why? It's because
no, you're accusing them of not being accountable to the Kenyan people, but you yourself was not there. So it's like calling it's the kettle calling the pot black.
No, I was there. What they did is because the organizers had so much pressure, they simply did not allow us into the one tier. We said this debate is very discriminative. You cannot have 2 tiers for the 2 horses and then the others. We were all certified by IBC for us to contest. Let the Kenyan people hear us, all of us, the 8 of us in one stage. And that's what it was. So we went in there at 7 o'clock as we had agreed, and somehow maybe someone made a big call somewhere and they said, no, we will only have one debate.
Well, I'm not sure that's what happened, but anyway, let me come to you, Norman Magaya, and the question here being accountability. And it's not just the debate. We'll come to the debate in just a bit, but also when we look at the counties that are under ODM or NASA, there are questions that have been raised, but we have not seen NASA come out or the ODM leaders come out strongly as they have on national issues regarding those particular accountability issues. So how is it that we're going to trust NASA to do that on a national level if they could not do it on a county level?
I think, first of all, there are things that you need to set out very clearly. Number one is that I think our party leader issued a memo to all our county bosses and told them that if you put your hand in the till, you are on your own. You will face the law and the party will not defend you. I think that we've made abundantly clear. And one of the founding principles of NASA is that each of the leaders in executive positions vying on a NASA ticket has to clearly sign a code of conduct that clearly prescribed for accountability mechanism, clearly prohibits corruption tendencies, and this, all the leadership have appended signatures to those documents are domiciled in my office. All our county bosses have appended their signatures to, all our principals have appended signatures to, and they must be held to account, so that immediately on assumption of office, we will be able to submit these codes of conduct to the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, that this is a vote that our members have taken, and they must be held to this standard.
The same EACC that you have said you're not confident can convict or bring those cases to.
The issue is the issue is not EACC not being able to perform. The issue is that EACC has not been given an environment to perform. In a cycle of 5 years, I think we are on the 3rd one now, and it's purely government driven. The first one was people were promised ambassadorial positions to resign from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. There is only one person under the 2010 Constitution that has the authority to appoint ambassadors. So that promise must have been coming from that office, and that undermined the very authority of that organization. Secondly, there is a reporting mechanism that is clearly defined in law. When EACC conducts investigation, who do they forward their reports to? That reporting mechanism is well stated in law. So when an executive, a chief executive of the country breaches that protocol and becomes the one to present a report in parliament, in itself you are undermining the efforts of this organization to fight corruption. 3, you cannot have a commission that you have set out to fight corruption and you under-resource it. So if you are dealing with 47 county government and the national government, then you are dealing with a larger problem. You need to resource the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission properly in terms of personnel, in terms of resources, in terms of capacity. Because one of the things that happen with corruption is that the cartels become more sophisticated in the manner in which they undertake their corruption dealings. And you need to resource the Ethics and Corruption Commission properly so that it can also live up to the times of the day and be able to track down corruption dealings, prepare files that are substantive, and then resource the DPP's office to undertake prosecution, so that you are not going to court purely on a public relation manner to show the country that you are fighting corruption, yet the charges that you are preferring against these public officials are nothing but scandalous. Yeah.
All right, and at this point, we want to release KTN Home and continue on KTN News with this conversation of the state of the nation. So for those of us on KTN Home, it's time for Life and Style. Goodbye. All right, and let me come back to you, Rachel Shebesh. And there's somebody here who even says, this is via Twitter, and they say that Rachel Shebesh should not be speaking on behalf of IEBC. And this is the question I was raising earlier on, why it is necessary, or why Jubilee finds it necessary to speak on behalf of Chebukati, who is a chair and an able chair for that matter.
What exactly have I said on behalf of IEBC? I've said on behalf of Jubilee. We believe that IEBC should be preparing for an election which is 18 days away. When IEBC is engaged in court with numerous cases, we are saying that you are taking away the time of IEBC to prepare for an election. And let me tell you something about an election, by the way, because people seem to think elections are about political parties. No, elections are about the sovereignty of the people of Kenya. They know that their elections are on August 8th. They are prepared to go to elections. I always ask this question also. When this company, what is it called? Was given the tender, all political parties, leaders, were supposed to go to Dubai, where the printing is, or whatever, to verify. NASA went to verify.
No, we never went.
Yes, you did.
No, no, no.
Yes, you did.
No, no. We have never gone
to at the point that the tender was given.
You know,
Rachel, don't rely on national TV.
No, don't
please.
also keep denying.
No, 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 no. We made a statement clearly that we will not go to Dubai.
No. You know, he thinks we don't know when the people take planes. People meet in Dubai.
We made it
I'm sure they didn't go shopping.
Shebesh, do you have evidence that they actually went?
The time that people were going.
Zai was in the meeting where we told IBC we will not go.
Their political party leaders were in Dubai at the same time that ours were to go and verify. I am sure even you were told as a third way alliance, because one of the laws that is in the Political Parties Act is clear that the company that is given printing must.
When you say they went to verify, is it after they rejected they raised it right at the beginning?
It was before.
Okay, do we have evidence to that effect? Because Norman Magai is
he will deny. He will not deny. He will deny it, but I'm telling you, I don't think it's a coincidence. I don't think it's a coincidence.
Rachel, you are a member of parliament. You shouldn't tell a lie of this nature. We stated clearly that we will not participate, and Zai was there. And we told IBC that we will not go to superintendent the process of printing of ballot papers. We said it clearly.
You know, it was my question. Let me finish it.
Okay, let me finish it and I'll come to you.
Let me finish it. It is the right of political parties and their leadership to go and oversee the process of printing. Before they even went to court, the process had begun. The process had begun. So I am saying in that process of beginning, it was then coincidental, therefore, that their leadership was in Dubai, probably shopping, as people were looking. Let me not say they were there, but they were in Dubai. You know, these things are not a secret, and not that people don't know.
But you see, let me tell you, Rachel Shebesh, because we are national TV, it would be good if we can verify. And right now, we don't have evidence that can verify that they were there.
To verify. Let me recant. They did not go to verify.
All right.
But they had the right to go and verify.
Okay.
But I am saying this, because you also asked a question about EACC and about the issue of transparency. The meetings that happened in not every county, because they stopped at a point, of youth meetings, huge meetings that were called by the governors of various counties, that the party leader of NASA used to go to talk to young people. Big meetings. Things that we are watching on TV, listening to what youth are saying. Those were meetings organized by county governments, allied to NASA, to do to give a forum to their leader to engage the youth. You may say that is innocent enough, isn't it? You may say that. But where is it that county governments are allowed to bring in forums for youth to propagate a political party agenda? I don't know. I don't know. So let's not
Mike,
say
I think that
on this side this side, you want to keep calling us.
That requires a rebuttal.
Yeah, you can rebut. That's why you are here.
That requires
that's
a rebuttal.
Why you're here.
Yeah,
that's why you're here.
But
let me just say,
I'll give you a chance.
Let us be open and transparent about everything. What we have been saying is, EACC, IBC, all these independent bodies, all of them, NASA will always cast aspersions on them. Every time they're going to do anything, Jubilee has bought them. Jubilee has bought them. Why? Because we're incumbent. Because we are supposed to be seen to be controlling all independent bodies to do our bidding.
Okay.
That is not true.
Norman, you wanted to give a rebuttal. Let's hear what you have to say when it comes to
I must state clearly. I don't know why. This is not the Rachel I knew.
No. I cannot be. I cannot be the same one you knew.
For a simple reason. You cannot have a cachet of lies on everything. I think I'm a chief executive officer of previously called and now NASA. And all Kikao meetings that we held at the county levels were financed by my office. And I can give documentation to that effect. I financed them. I had one service provider. I have made payments to that service provider on those specific dates. And I can account for all those events. It is wrong to say that because an event is being held at the county and the governor is in attendance, that governor has financed that event. All those events were financed by my office. And I can give documentation to that effect. So it's not good to simply lie so that you turn a discussion about corruption to a mud throwing game. I think we must face it that corruption is a serious issue and we need to provide a framework of moving this country forward. And the corruption that has happened these 4 years, it's monumental. If you look at the amount of money that the country has lost in terms of corruption dealings, exaggerated contract rates, direct corruption, NYS, mentioned them, Eurobond. I mean, this has never happened in this country. And that's why our conclusion has been that Jubilee is the most corrupt government, the most corrupt government that this country has ever experienced since independence.
Okay, we've gone to corruption. I want us to stick to IEBC because that's mainly what we're focusing on. Let me come to Emmanuel. And looking at the way forward, Third Way Alliance, basically, there's what Rachel Shebesh has mentioned, and I don't know if you want to give a rebuttal to that in terms of you being aware that there was already the papers being printed.
Yes, I think on that one, I think he answered it. The fact of the matter is when IBC called on us to kind of give us a brief, there was also an invitation for us to attend, to go simply verify all that. But then there was the court case which was going on. We didn't send. I think the CEO said she recanted, that is okay. But I think here we're about the solutions of simply where we are and what we need to do. You know, and I think we need to probably simply think as the Kenyan citizens and what is right as leaders here. I think one, there's two specific things. IBC needs to be left alone, okay, by NASA and Jubilee. Leave these guys alone. They are capable. We put them there. They're an independent commission. They need to do their job under a lot of pressure. Leave them with the Kenyan people. And the ballot papers can be done. We gave in that the time frame. Experts took a look at it. They can be done in a period of a week. The ruling comes in. They do that. Secondly, I think the opposition leader and the current sitting president have a responsibility right now, given where we stand. Okay, things are not right. Okay, and the Kenyan people have a lot of anxieties. Let them go to the debate on Monday. And all of them, 8 of them, let them be now accountable to the Kenyan people to answer the issue of institutional meddling, because it's being talked about here. And the institutional meddling is simply, again, they talked about EACC. EACC is in there. There is a lot of meddling. No one has been convicted. Corruption is left and right. The Kenyan people know that. IBC has the same problem, and many, many other institutions. So I think they need to go to the Kenyan people, answer the question of corruption, answer the question of tribalism, answer the question of social and economic injustices, and all that. That is the platform, I think, that they can assure the Kenyan people that it will work.
And I'm coming to the presidential debate. Although as much as you say they should go, you are not there for the debate. So, again, isn't that speaking from both sides of the mouth?
Let me answer that to you very specific. All the 6 candidates, apart from NASA and Jubilee, we came in together and agreed that the 2-tier system, because of this is what is going on, these guys, you imagine you put Raila and Uhuru Kenyatta, who have been talking in the last I don't know how many years about solutions in Kenya. They do not have solutions for this country, and you can't have them debate by themselves. So we said, we know you organizers are under pressure from these two groups.
Okay.
We want to participate in a non-discriminative debate. We want only one debate. We agreed. The problem is simply one person made a breach. And that's why in the whole of that event where most Kenyans, the world was waiting, we brought in shame to this country because only one person participated. Because simply they insisted on discriminative debate. We are still insisting today, let them have one debate, all the 8 candidates,
will your party leader come on the 24th?
Absolutely.
For the debate, regardless of, are there any conditions attached to his coming?
No, the conditions we are still asking, and these two leaders who are here, I'm asking of them today. Please go talk to your leaders that there is a lot of things at stake. Let's have one debate of all the 8 candidates which are ABC certified.
And the presidential candidate of NASA, who is Raila Odinga, can sell their manifestos and be asked questions.
Head to head.
But this other array of third way and whoever will just take up time.
You see, this is what is wrong with this country. IBC has one law where they certified 8 candidates. But these guys want the Kenyan people to believe.
Emmanuel, that may be true, Emmanuel, but we have to come up with a system where we are able to give everybody at least reasonable time for them to sell their manifesto and to be asked questions.
Absolutely, absolutely. I just gave you an example. The Kenyan people are very patient people. Okay? The Kenyan people are suffering right now. The Kenyan people have a lot of anxieties because of all this conversation. We've talked about corruption and all that. If a Kenyan can go in and spend a whole day in line to vote for Mheshimiwa Shebesh or Raila, you do not have time for you to be accountable to that citizen. You say you can't stand up for 4 hours.
The media houses may also not have that 4 hours,
then let them do two different debates where they have.
What you're refusing. We're already doing 2 debates.
But in this
sense,
that
they're divided on time.
In this sense, they do the 8, not only the 2 horses. They only do the 8 together for that time, and then they do another one of the 2.
All right,
Mike, I think there's something Rachel mentioned which creates proper context for this. Since the IBC cleared candidates, Uhuru and Raila have been on the campaign trail everywhere, selling their policies, explaining themselves to Kenyans, and seeking votes. We have not seen these other candidates. We are coming to debate, and part of the things we will be asked is the policies we have been selling to the people. They have not sold anything to the Kenyan people. So what are they coming in a single forum to debate? It is very clear that some of these people sought to contest for the presidency merely to compete in a presidential debate with the top 2. And it is not a crime that the top 2 have created a mass following for themselves across the country. If you want to get to that league, work for it, work your socks off and get there. But do not demand to be given a status that is not consummate with the kind of action you are putting into your campaign. Yeah.
One, we have been campaigning. I just came back from the coasts. We came back from Naivasha. We were out in Muranga. The problem is we do not get as much prominence as they do. Because of exactly...
Could there be a reason why?
The good reason, because we are simply newcomers. That is true, and it's a fact. We are newcomers. The two want to believe, like what he said. When you go to rallies, you are talking to the people. You are not engaging the people. When you go to a structured debate, which they do not want, is when they will be asked these questions for accountability, and for sure they do not want that. We have been campaigning. The only difference is they get much of the mileage because they're the two horses. I think they're dark horses in my view. So I think right now what we need is let them go talk. But across the world, debates happen. We had a debate in the last election. All the 8 candidates were there. Okay? I understand about the time issue. But for sure, you can have 4 hours and have breaks. These guys, all of us go in and campaign 24 hours. You know, I'm sure her feet are hurting. You know, why can't we have 4 hours to talk to the Kenyan people where you are asked structured questions and answer, you know, all these questions about IBC?
That may be so, but there are those who also look at it as a waste, as an opportunity that was there, that was not taken advantage of. You had a good 1.5 hours arranged by the media for you to sell your manifesto, and you've just rightly mentioned that you may not have as a big following as they have. You're not getting as much prominence in terms of even media coverage. But there was an opportunity that came, and you did not show up.
We chose principle to say we want these two guys to come in and answer to the Kenyan people in one platform. We will not endorse discriminative platforms where there is 2 tiers of one, the 2 horses who come in, get the same 90 minutes, and you have 6 people in the same 90 minutes. And today, again, we are asking the same thing. On Monday, you guys, the Kenyan people, have a lot of anxieties right now. Let's simply rise above that. Let's go into a platform, one platform, and let the presidential candidates answer the questions of accountability. You do not get there by talking to the Kenyan people in all these rallies which are going on.
All right, Rachel Shebesh, we need to wind up your closing comments in regards to IEBC, the way forward, and whether we should expect Uhuru Kenyatta on Monday, next Monday, on the 24th, for the debate.
I don't speak for Uhuru Kenyatta. I'm not his spokesman. I'm not his pisu.
Okay.
Please ask him to comment on that debate. But I'm saying, as we finish, Kenyans know we have 18 days to go to an election, and we have no ballot papers for the presidential candidate. If that is not a cause for worry for any Kenyan, irrespective of your affiliation, political party affiliation, then I don't know. I am urging the court processes, NASA, IBC, I don't know where the confusion is. Just please end these stories of the court. Let's go to elections. There is no way I am going to go to an election as women looking for my seat and Uhuru Kenyatta is not on the ballot. It can't work. It cannot happen. It can't work. The reason why the presidential ticket elections were put on the same day as for governor, senator, women rep is because Kenyans, when they come to elect, they want to see whose team am I on. So why would we want the presidential election to be postponed or held later if the papers are not ready? If in 18 days, NASA is comfortable for 10 days to go to the election, is when the ballot papers for presidential are being printed, then so be it.
So be it. All right, Emmanuel, your closing comments.
Thank you. I think to the Kenyan people, you know, it's true we have problems. There's a leadership crisis in this country. I think we need to demand that all the 8 candidates come in and be accountable to the Kenyan people and answer the questions of the social and economic injustices going on, the issues of unga, high rising living costs. They need to come in there, talk about the issue of tribalism and cohesion in this country. We need to talk about theft of public funds. We need to talk about the constitution and protecting it, the rule of law. We need to talk about our global competitiveness in this country, which is eroded. And these are the 2 leaders who I think they will be doing the country a favor at this point when we truly have a crisis. Okay, this is not normal. That you know, every time there's an election, there is all this kind of tension which is caused by them. I think it will help the country for us to move forward. So I totally appeal to them, and they leave IBC alone.
All right, Norman Magaya, closing comments?
Yeah, we will appear on Monday at the debate.
You confirm that you will appear on the debate?
Yes, we will,
on the 8th.
we will appear.
With the 8th.
We are not debating with the Super League. We are debating with the Champions League. That's what we will do
But
on Monday.
You know,
but finally, what I will say is that we are 18 days to election. As I've said, that whichever decision the court makes, we will live with it. But we are happy with the kind of progress we have been able to meet in terms of regularizing, in terms of creating certainty in the electoral process. And we are confident that we are going to an election that IEBC will be able to conduct in a manner that is consistent with the dictates of the election. And we are ready for elections at 6 a.m. on 8th of August 2017. There is nothing whatsoever under the Constitution that can cause a postponement of that election. And we are sure that the Almighty will be gracious enough to us that no presidential candidate will pass away to cause a postponement. So we will have an election.
All right, thank you very much, Norman Magaya, Emmanuel Nzai, and Rachel Shebesh for joining us this morning on the State of the Nation. And that's where we wind up the State of the Nation this morning. And do stay with us. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we've got some news updates coming up for you. So do stay with us right here on KTN News.